Hey y'all, and welcome to part 3 of the horse trailer fix-up series. While I'm waiting on my AC. AC is it's not in the mail yet, but it's coming. I've decided to tackle these rust spots here, so I'm going to be putting Rust-Oleum rust reform on top of this. And it's already been sanded, looks much better here. And then I'm going to put when it dries, I'm going to put a new bead of caulk around the bottom of the trim as well. And I'm going to address these kind of spots all around the trailer. You can see how these little strips turned out. It's already dry, and I'd say it did the trick. Also on the inside, doing a little bit of prep work here, trimming the insulation around the ceiling and the walls so that future paneling can come in here and sit flush. We're in the back of the trailer here as I deal with some of the worst rust that's actually on the whole trailer. And I'm sanding and going over with rust reform all of this, and you can see how some of the areas were very bad. This is probably the worst rust on the whole trailer. With that said, it's not like I can crush it at all. Even with those holes there, it's still somewhat solid. Same deal here as I go over the top. Now, we don't have this problem in the living quarters section, probably because the roof is very well sealed. So we're going to investigate that on the roof as well. Go up there and reseal along the trim on the roof. So I've gone all around here. Now this is an example of one that hasn't been done yet. But like the outside of the trailer, these bad looking spots are mostly just surface rust, and that's mostly just paint that came off there. So we're gonna go and take care of that. I'm just trying to do something better than nothing with this here. Using a tube of sealant here to reseal along the bottom here. Did my best to get all the old stuff off. This is gonna help out avoid getting rust inside the panels at the bottom, inside the door as well. Went ahead and painted here, sanded and painted. It's a layer along the bottom there. Wasn't bad from a rust perspective, but it's kind of more preventative. And then we dug out this. We got some moisture damage here. And how it's coming in, I don't know, but we tried sealing here to start. We'll see if it's wet in there next time it rains. All right, so our AC unit is gonna be delayed by about a month. So in the meantime, we're gonna continue with some projects on the trailer. So I've got these two very nice panels here for the back wall. I think it's gonna match the red trailer perfectly. And then we have a couple plywoods down here. So we're gonna add to the project another step, and this would be the time to do it, which is to go over the top of the floor with the new, do something different with the floor. I actually don't mind this floor too much. I just I'm doing this partly just because I want to try installing some plywood floor and staining it. And I've never stained wood before. It'll be a first time for me. So if it doesn't turn out perfect, it's no big deal. It's just my horse trailer. This is a chance for me to develop some more skills, just like I've been doing with paint and with metal and other things that we're working on. we finally got this one trimmed so that it fits. It's not perfect. It ended up being a little bit skewed on this side, mostly because of this angle. For some reason, I was off by a full inch on this side. I had no clue how that happened, but I measured 50 inches, and this is only 49 from the wall here to the storage cubby. With that said, we have two pieces that will fit in. We can probably fill in these gaps easily with some kind of, filler. And these pieces should be ready to get sanded and stained, and we should be moving on. Now, completely missed this on the time lapse, but I got a piece here. This needs to be cut 11 and 12 inches to fit here, and then on the opposite short side there. And we got this piece here, which we're gonna see if we can fit that into place on the one wall right here, and then we're gonna take measurements. So I'm gonna do it with the floor in, and then we'll take our measurements and cut our last piece. Then we'll be ready for staining, install the floor, install the back wall. Yeah, we gotta cut way up top. That's it. That's all we need there. And then we will draw a big line on this foam panel and take measurements for the second panel. All right, we're getting set up here under the house where it's dry and out of the wind a bit. It's got some occasional mist going on today, and it went from summer to winter overnight. So still going to proceed with the staining. We're going to start off with some sanding. We got two different tables set up. 220 grit. I wanted 180, but I had to choose between 150 and 220. Decided to go with the 220. I'm going to lightly sand these, wipe them down, and stain them, and set y'all up on the time lapse. All right, it's 3.5 hours later now. Gonna do our first coat of poly. I'm gonna do two coats of poly and let it dry 2 hours after the first coat. And then an hour after the second coat goes on, I wanna try and get these on the ground in the trailer. Maybe not bolted down, but at least on the ground in their spot. And before I put you all on time lapse, we have a lot of new cuts on the second panel. I've even got 2 little cuts to go around the door. I've got our big 33 incher here to go with my other 48 incher for the back wall. We've got some pieces to go around the storage cubby. So a buddy of mine had a table saw, and I got to thinking, you know what, I should call him up, see if he'll let me borrow the table saw. So I swung by over there and cut these, and I think we're gonna be good to go. We're gonna test these out, make sure they fit later on, but first we gotta get the floor done and over with. So that's what we're gonna do today. out here after the second coat of poly. It's dried over an hour now. I'm gonna pick these up and put them in the trailer, set them down, get them out of here. Wind's gusting pretty hard. I don't want these things blowing off tonight, so I'm just gonna pick them up and set them down. I think they turned out fantastic. Really actually exceeded my expectations. Well, it's the next day. We're back at it. Got the interior panels here. Want to work with them today. All the cutting is done now. Had to do a little trimming last night on a couple of them when I lined them up with the floor in. These were a little bit too tall, but no big deal. And I want to paint the opposite sides of them just as an extra vapor barrier and such for when they're installed, and just for peace of mind. So that's what we're going to be doing today. And then if they dry in time, I'd like to get them lined up inside, maybe tack them on the walls. Bunch of hammering and a smash finger later, and the wall is in, the back wall, including this side piece around the door. Nice touch. I thought that was a great idea. Looks good. Doesn't perfectly align, but I'm not concerned about that. I think it's fantastic. Great improvement over the styrofoam back wall. The floor got scuffed up a little bit while I wrestled with these panels. I think it'll buff out, but if it doesn't, I'm gonna sand and do a third coat of poly. Why not? And then here for the cubby, this one has not been installed yet until we verify that the moisture issue from the corner is resolved after the new caulk. And then we did go on this side, and we went here and here. Measurement must have been off here, but I might have a scrap piece that'll fit there. This piece, okay, this one was interesting because there's only a 1/2 inch of wood there or so, and then it's the metal outside of the trailer. So my long screws were not going to work. So I actually pulled a couple of these small ones out of these studs up here and used them down there. These big ones were not going to, you know, they'd be half in and then they'd be hitting the back wall of the trailer. These ones, I used a couple of these up here on this stubborn corner to really drive it down, not only through the subfloor here, but into the 2x6s that run underneath of the subfloor. And then a few sinkers just tacked over here to, you know, hold the floor down. We have this one gap in between the floor. That's really it, going all the way around the outside. No other real dimension or gap issues. So that's just one small thing to address. I mean, could just leave it like that. It's no big deal, but I think I'll try and fill it in with something. Anyways, this is a good stopping point, I think, for this video. We've done a lot, and we still have more work to do. We've got rust repairs out here to work on. I've even started to have some thoughts. The frame is not bad at all from a rust perspective, but I've had some thoughts about sanding the entire frame and undercoating it. That's something to think about. It will take me several days to do. So we do have a few more rust repairs on the menu. We have all the rest of this, the walls and ceiling in here. Now, the ceiling won't be done until after the AC is done. So yes, AC is still on the list, and we're a few weeks out from getting it. But I would say good headway so far, and we'll see what we encounter next. I just need a few days to rest after all this. We've been working hard lately. So y'all have a good one. I will see you in the next video. Thank you if you've made it this far. Have a good one.